Talk about Doom vodka.
There is Doom vodka. I saw that.
There is Doom vodka.
Yeah, that's probably has something to it.
Oh, it's a Bethesda partnership. Yeah, I feel really confident with that fucking partnership.
Well, I'm mostly finding it cool that I learned you can make vodka from bones.
Yeah, marrow of fucking beef bones.
Yeah.
It's a vodka that's not fucking vegetarian or vegan.
Which I find really entertaining.
I find it funny that meat eaters, we will find vegans when it comes to even making vodka.
I just more enjoy the fact that, like, I had no idea you could do this. And now all I want to do when I get my, like, brewing system back up is do this. I want to try making vodka from bones.
I am sure that it took them a while to actually, well, the distillers anyway, it took them quite a while to get something that didn't just taste like bad meat or meat that went off.
Oh, sure.
I
don't
know
doubt
this,
that at all, but
I know this just knowing some people who, like, I mean, I know you brew, but I know also other people that brew, like, mainly more beers and stuff. And trying to add, like, figure out any interesting flavor to add is just, like, takes so many batches before it just,
oh no, I'm not looking for
actually
it to be good.
edible.
This is more to say I did it. Like, this is more you make, like, 1 gallon of it, you put it in a container, you wax seal the top of it, and you write the words bone vodka on the side of it, and you bury it in your yard for some asshole 50 years in the future to dig up and be like, what kind of serial killer owned this house?
Hello and welcome to the Wicked Awesome Cast number 171. And we have a full house today. I am Kraken Zero, aka No Bad Har. With me is Charlie, aka Mordak Undivided, and Alex, aka Mave Online.
Woody woo.
I could, like, murder Alex real quick if we wanted to just get down to 2 people again. I've been looking for a reason to.
Wow.
The puns have become unbearable, Alex.
We're starting this one off right.
That and me and Jen made a joke the other day. We looked at each other. Oh,
perfect.
It's kind of like how Jeff became a measure of how pasty white someone was. You've become a measure of how bad a joke is.
Excellent.
No, it's not.
That makes me feel so happy.
A measurement of grownness. On the scale of 1 to Alex, where does it fall? Oh, it's like an 8. It's not quite an Alex light. It's an Alex Facebook post.
I mean, they're not unbearable. They're not bad, you know? Sometimes they're rough, a little Grizzly, but they're okay.
Oh, that's like a 6.
I'm just sitting here smirking, fully aware that my smirk does not come through on a recording.
Audible smirk.
Half of our podcasts are made for television anyway.
Pretty much. Oh, 171. We did it, boys. What, is there anything special for 171? No. Is there?
It's a palindrome.
Oh, there you go. Boys, 171. We palindromed it up. I don't know another way to say that, but yes.
I because I'm a weirdo that actually has. Do you have a favorite palindrome? Because I do.
I don't know if I have a favorite one. Like, I don't. Man, of all my palindromes over the years,
I learned this, I think, in
favorite.
like 2nd or 3rd grade, maybe 4th grade, and it is stuck with me. And it is go hang a salami, I'm a lasagna hog, is a palindrome.
That's pretty good.
Sentence, go hang a salami, I'm a lasagna hog, is a palindrome. I mean, you can check, I did.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Damn it, I'm mad. but that requires a very specific spelling of damn it.
Sure.
But, favorite one,
Like
I mean,
Star.
the, A Man, a Plan, a Canal, Panama is just a classic one.
Sure.
But everybody kind of knows that one.
But this has been your literary moment of the week, I guess. I don't know.
My favorite palindrome is Mom. Don't forget to call your mother, folks. She misses you.
That took a weird turn. What have y'all been up to this week?
Let's see. I didn't get enough Destiny 2 in this week, actually. I do need to do it today. I'm going to play some after I get my focusing because my parents and some family members are coming to visit in a few weeks. I'm excited about that. Yeah, they're going to be here the last week of September, and so I'm going to show them around, or Portland and all the stuff around here and stuff like that. So I'm excited.
You're just gonna hang outside a weed shop for like 4 days, aren't you?
Pretty much. We're just gonna walk into a shop, and I'm just gonna give my parents edibles, and then just kind of see what happens. But no, I mean so let's see. So my mom and dad are coming. My sister and her kid are coming. She's got a baby, so they're coming up, and that was the original plan. I'm like, oh, that'll be cool. And then I think maybe like 2 weeks ago, in my true family nature, they're like, oh, by the way, 2 aunts and an uncle are also coming to visit. I'm like, okay, cool. Excellent.
Have you told them you're going to be in LA in like a month?
No, not yet. But yeah, actually a month doesn't change technically, but yes.
I said like a month, not actually a month.
Yeah, but I do actually, I ended up booking all my stuff for your shindig, if you will.
I like calling it a shindig. That makes it far less terrifying sounding.
Yeah, no, so I'm all
hootenanny.
booked up. Yeah, the hootenanny. Yeah, all that stuff booked out. And I learned a little interesting tidbit about booking flights.
Wednesday.
Specific. So I am what Alaska Airlines calls a customer of size. I am a bigger dude. And so this time I opted to buy an extra seat so I can actually be comfortable.
Mm.
And I guess they have a whole process where when you buy the second seat, first things first, if you call them, they'll waive the taxes on the second seat, which is kind of cool. On top of that, if the flight wasn't full, you can call Alaska back and they can give you a refund for your second seat.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So, yeah. So Mandy and I have a row to ourselves. And if the flight isn't full, I get my money back on the extra seat I bought for myself. So that I did not know.
Yeah,
but it was pretty fucking nifty, and I wish I would have done that a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there are obviously some stipulations. If the flight is full, you don't get shit. But
you can't wear your partner on your back like a backpack, pretend they're not there.
No, unfortunately, no. Alaska's not the kind that would do something like that. If you're looking for something where you can put a live creature inside the overhead compartment,
Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, Spirit Airlines would charge you $60 to put something up there in the first place, and then it would die. So, because Spirit Airlines is garbage tier flights. Unless you just need to go one way with no luggage to like Vegas, don't ever fly Spirit. Anyway. Yeah, other than just kind of like taking care of some real life stuff, we got a new boss down in WoW, so we got our Groza. We're now 5 out of 8. We're working on the last 3 bosses right now, so much excitement. And other than that, that's pretty much my week. I'm just ashamed I didn't get enough Destiny in, but I look forward to getting some more in this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that,
you want to play some Gambit? Probably playing Gambit all week, and then I'm probably out once Borderlands drops.
Gotcha. Borderlands is supposed to come out this week, right?
Yep, it is coming.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, there's. Do we have the news about some of the drama for that one? But yeah,
We've talked about Borderlands. We talked about the nerfs.
no, there was. Well, I'll find it and link it there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, like that's pretty much been it. Like it was kind of a chill week, I gotta say. So that's it for me.
Yeah. Guess I'll go. Start. I played 2 games that weren't Destiny this week. I finished with Destiny. Like I could take or leave at this point. Getting Dredgen before year 3 kicks off. I'm close enough to getting it. I think I probably will. And there's a big Infamy boost weekend happening. That's probably that'll probably be the last of Destiny I play for the most part till Shadowkeep drops. Just not that it matters, but like I aim in a way that I'm like, I'll come back to this when there's new stuff to do. Time to tap out for a little bit. You overplayed your hand. But because of that, I've been playing. First off, I've been playing that Funko Pop Gears of War game, Gears Pop. It is not good. Were either of you here?
Really?
Were either of you here when I talked about Clash Royale a bunch?
Mm.
No, not really.
Okay, so the Funko Pop game, it's a mobile game. It's on my phone. It is in so many ways a reskinning of Royale. It has some other stuff. Admittedly, it's been like 2 or 3 years since I last played Clash Royale, so I have no idea what that game is now or any good memories. I remember there was being a resign button in that game. There's needs, like really badly needs. One of the lanes is unprotected, and the other 2 lanes have little like Gears of War style waist height barricades that you vault over and you kind of push into enemy territory, and the more you push, the further down the field you can spawn guys, and your inevitable goal is to send enemies to attack these 2 turrets, and then they're like bunker with their guy behind it. It's all characters from Gears of War, like you're not picking Locust versus Lambent versus humans, or the Cog, I guess. It's just kind of like pieces. So you have like a Baird and Marcus Phoenix fighting alongside just like 3 Locust dudes taking ground and shooting shit for you. The hero characters typically come with some kind of speciality to them, like Coltrane doesn't give a fuck about cover. He just kind of rushes whatever's directly ahead of him and shoots it, which is cool, but he won't take barricades. Marcus Phoenix takes barricades like twice as fast as other characters that take barricades. It's on paper it sounds cool. Playing it, it's Clash Royale, meaning your player, if the opponent has either just spent more time and has better characters or has spent money, you're just not going to win. Like there's a real power imbalance in that game that like
pay to win.
Oh, it's Clash Royale was severely pay to win. This is just as bad, if not worse, because in the least Gears of War way possible, at the end of each match, your Funko character rushes another Funko character with a chainsaw bayonet. You know, the classic Gears of War machine gun, the Lancer with the chainsaw, and then you chainsaw duel for a second, and the opposing character's head pops off. You don't horribly gore them or cut them in half, Gears of War style. It's kind of kid-friendly, boop, and it's done. I only bring that up so I can mention the way the kind of unlocks in this game work. You are literally collecting Funko Pop characters. So much so that when you get, like, a loot box to unlock more characters, the mechanic for opening up individual characters is a fucking unboxing of a Funko Pop character. It shows up on your screen in the Funko Pop box, and it looks like the actual Funko Pop with its cold, dead eyes, which kind of works, actually, for Gears of War characters, but I am playing it because Gears of War, and because I'm getting Xbox achievements out of it. And that was too much for me to pass up. The game is bad. It is, if you're curious, it is free. I have played, like, maybe a couple hours of it. Like, it's a great, hey, I got time to kill waiting for the bathroom or waiting for this bus, or, like, I have 5 minutes left of my lunch break, I'll bang out a game of Gears Pop kind of thing. It's not a good game. Like, if you don't like Gears of War, there's no reason to play this game. It's not fun, it's just a time killer. Like, every idle clicker I've ever talked about, I think, is a better game than this thing. And this is more of a, quote, traditional game than any of those things ever were. it saddens me that I'm playing this the same kind of time frame Gears 5 comes out, because I've heard nothing but good things about Gears 5. I'm like, getting back into Gears, playing a shitty mobile game. Oh, yeah, because I don't have Gears 5 yet. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Like, it's somehow worse than Clash Royale. And that game was also really bad. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I've been playing Control.
Ooh, I've only watched somebody play it. There again, I don't have a console, but cool.
Okay,
that game
so
looks really cool.
Before I talk too much, I gotta throw down some kind of disclaimers and thoughts before we can kind of dig into it. I'm playing it on a PS4 Pro. That is important because it apparently runs like garbage on the base consoles, and version also has problems. Like, the PS4 Pro version is not great either, but it's better. And, like, everything positive and negative, I think, is true. The combat, kind of on the Charlie scale of to, like, fuck, this combat's amazing, is a solid fine, maybe an okay. Like, the combat for this game is weird and not great, but it's fine. Like, it's serviceable to the rest of the game, with sound design and like general design and animation and voice acting. Like, the presentation of it is fucking badass, and the story is cool. And, like, if you're coming to this game expecting, like, PsyOps, that PS3, Xbox 360 game that some of us fucking loved, but you're not expecting it to be as good as PsyOps from a playing standpoint, you'll be real happy. The psychic powers in this game are real goddamn cool. The gunplay is fine. Like, it's weird. The auto aim for your psychic powers is ridiculous and awesome. The aiming of your gun feels weird. Like, I had to go into settings and turn down the sensitivity for aiming down sights because it was set way too goddamn high. Like, the chances you are turning your camera and swing your camera too hard into, like, rapid spin around your character motion blur mode, it's too high. Like, it's fine, but it should be better. Like, most other games that are third-person shooters handle all of this stuff a little bit better than this game does, and this is Remedy, makers of Alan Wake, and, what was that time travel game called that came out on Xbox that I meant to play but never got around to? Did I play that game, actually? I don't remember. It was the TV one. It was supposed to be a big deal for Xbox. They've always had problems with combat. It's always been kind of the presentation of the game. I did play that one because it had bad combat. Yeah, it had really bad combat. Yeah, this is the best playing Remedy game to date from a combat standpoint. It's still not good. Like, it's still at best fine. Like, it's serviceable, and, like, powers work. Like, it's weird because powers work exactly the way you want them to. Like, the dodge. Before the game even told me I could air dodge, I'm like, all right, I can air dodge across that gap. Like, 10 minutes later, oh, you can air dodge across that gap. I'm like, yeah, I figured out the second, because it works exactly as I expect it to. Yeah, like, there's no cover system, and maybe the game needs actually a cover system. It's weird. It's disappointing because the game is so fucking cool. The combat, the actual, like, second-to-second gameplay parts of it are completely fine to, like, this could definitely be better. But at least so far for me, like, there's a weird hill. You don't start off with psychic powers, and the moment you get your first psychic power in that game, combat gets way better. And then there's the first boss fight of the game when you're reminded just how kind of not great the combat is. But for, like, general enemies, the combat's totally great because the auto powers is ridiculous. And the picking up and, like, throwing random objects at armed guards is awesome. Like,
the powers are pretty darn cool. I mean, it's a cool array of powers, and that's really what makes the combat. I mean, Like, I mean, like, all right. So as a person, I played Alan Wake, and the combat in those games is awful, like really bad. And from what I saw in Control, it's not bad. I mean, it's serviceable.
Yeah, it is absolutely fine. Like, it is. No one's bragging like, man, this game's got awesome combat. And there's some cool touches, like the service weapon, the weird shape-shifting gun you have is so cool. Down to the fact there's no ammo reload. Like, it regenerates bullets over time kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I keep pressing the square button to reload it, and the fact that it doesn't do anything kind of annoys me. I'm like, oh, my clip's almost empty. Time to reload. Reload in this game. I'm like, I get why we don't, and thematically it makes sense, but, like, if the mechanic was like, hey, you have to manually trigger regeneration, that would have been better. Like, it's fine. I'm getting used to it, but, like, I'm so used to every other shooter on the face of the planet either being like, you have infinite ammo or you have clips. You may have infinite clips, but you have clips still, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, like, you get a shotgun and other stuff eventually. Like, I haven't gotten to that yet. I still only have I still have the handgun thing. But the gun is cool. Like, it's wigging out in your hand. Like, it's this, like, weird, not detailed, gray, like, ink blot of a gun. Like, this is what a handgun looks like without any of the handgun details. And that makes it cool. And
yeah, it's like once you start getting, and I actually have seen somebody play into getting some of the other gun types, they are very cool. And the animations and everything associated with them also very cool.
Oh, I mean, everything about this game is cool. Like, spoilers, but not really, because I'm only like a couple hours into the game. Like, I'm not going to reveal anything now that's not like been part of the branding or part of like the first 10 seconds of the game. So you play as Jesse, someone who's looking for their brother, and you wind up at the Federal Bureau of Control, which is kind of part CIA, part NSA, part FBI for paranoid, weird shit. And the entire game takes place in the FBC's building, the oldest house, and the oldest house is non-Euclidean geometry meets TARDIS meets MC Escher painting meets, like, the Danger Room from X-Men. And it is cool. Like, it is the Hogwarts castle if the Hogwarts castle was, like, actively against you at all times. Like, it is... So, the premise of the game is you show up... Okay, sorry, this won't make sense. I explain. Like, so, you show up, you walk through the lobby, you encounter a janitor named Ati, I think his name is, and before all this starts, the director, the guy in charge of the FBC, Director Trench, shoots himself in the head with a service weapon and dies. You wander into his office, like the deserted FBC, you just walking off the street, wander up to his office, past the janitor's like, oh, you're applying for the assistant janitor position job, cool. And you're like, yeah, sure, something. And then there are these in the head moments where the main character Jessie is talking to some invisible force inside of her head. And this is kind of cool because I've never seen a game have a main character acknowledge that there's someone looking over their shoulder at all times, a la the player, and not call them the player. Like, you are, like, you're never addressed by a name, but, like, you are, Jesse knows you, the player, are there. And that's kind of cool.
The other really cool thing is, and this is very intentional that I saw from watching it, are you familiar with something called the SCP Foundation?
Yes.
This game, with what I've seen, feels like SCP Foundation, the game. Because, there again, I'm not going to give stuff away, but you run into the types of, get to read about and actually see the exact types of cases that are described in the SCP Foundation.
Oh, no, and we're going to get to that in a second. Like, I'm running through just kind of like setting the tone of what the fuck this game is. So, like, you want, like, you meet Adi and your character's like, yeah, I've been a janitor before, janitors are cool. Like, you're like, in a shocking twist for video game protagonists, you're not just nice to the janitor, but you're, like, cool to the janitor. You're like, yeah, fucking janitor. I don't know where this is going, but I really dig the fact the main character is, like, incredibly sympathetic to, like, janitor's an important job to have at any corporation and stuff like that. And then you go into the office, you pick up the service weapon, and shit goes to hell. Like, you shoot yourself in the head, you win the Russian roulette, you do this weird kind of MC Escher White Zone space, and then you're in it. And you do kind of like a half hour of game, you're shooting Hiss, which is the enemy of this game, and then you let employees of the the FBC out of like a safe room vault thing, and no one fucking bats an eye. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're the new director. Good to meet you. Cool." And I'm like, no one's told them you're the director yet, except everyone knows you're the director now. You are now somehow in charge of the FBC, an organization that you were there to infiltrate and find what the fuck happened to your brother. And like, it gets so this thing Henry started to talk about. So the FBC deals with, the game calls them objects of power, or OOPs, OOPs kind of thing. And yes, and there's a bunch of kind of like government speak abbreviations for shit that, like, in the game make all, of course they're called OOP. Yeah, of course. Like AEWs, blah blah. Like, of course, yeah. And the basic idea is that the FBC investigates instances where an item. Sorry, we're gonna reference Supernatural, the TV show, for a second, like season 1 of Supernatural, because there's an episode that's incredibly important to what this show, what the game is, and it's the episode about the Topas, which are this thing that kind of like, it's the idea that if enough things believe in something, that thing becomes real or gains the power people believe it has. Like, to use an abstract example, like if you had a sword that was used by some famous general and like it was alleged, like it killed 1,000 people or something, it'd been used to behead like 1,000 men, and based on this logic, if enough people believe that thing, like, gave the wielder superhuman powers by holding it, it would. And the FBC exists to kind of deal with that. But, like, from an urban legend where it's like, if enough people believe that, like, there's going to be lint fires because of dryers or something like that, like, in the Midwest, and there's suddenly a giant outbreak of lint fires in the Midwest, there's now, like, maybe a piece of dryer hose or something that's become an object of power that's causing all these fires, and it needs to be contained, and the situation needs to be contained. Like, it's got stuff that taps into, like, the paranormal and the astral plane. Like, stuff I feel comfortable talking about. Like, so the first kind of mission you have of the game is you're going to find something called the Hotline, which is a red kind of World War II Cold War era red phone. No numbers. It's a direct line to something kind of thing. And when you're trying to, the way you get to it is you go into a hallway, and the hallway ends. There's a giant gap between you and the hotline, and there's a puzzle that then puts you into a fake place. Like you literally flip a light switch 3 times, and suddenly you're in roadside hotel, but it's every roadside hotel to ever exist in the main character's memories. Like, it's not in one place. It's got fucking, like, posters from Utah, Texas, Nebraska. It's decorated kind of generically for all of them, and the puzzle is navigate the hotel. Like, it's weird shit like that. Like, it's I've heard it compared a lot to Twin Peaks. That's a good example of it. Like, it's got some X-Files shit going on. Like, hell, Supernatural. Some of the episodes from that definitely play into this one. It's not so much Stranger Things, but, like, there's aspects of Stranger Things. The idea there's a government agency in charge of, like, dealing with these weird schisms in reality. There's that aspect from Stranger Things. That's an original to Stranger Things kind of thing. Like, and your main character is weird because, like, they're tapped into the supernatural shit. Like, they have conversations with you, the player, about how you've been around them for a long time. Like, you've been there and you do stuff for them, and the character has psychic powers and stuff, or something along those lines. But also, like, what the shit's going on, but also, like, everyone's weirdly cool with everything. Like, your main character's the most rattled by things, but, like, every NPC in the game's like, oh yeah, this type of shit happens. Thank God we're here. Like, the building locked down.
Yep. Yeah, it's, like I said, it seems to be, but I still have to say, the heaviest, the largest, like, effect on this game is definitely SCP Foundation. Yeah. I mean,
well, do you want to explain that some? 'Cause I know what it is, but I'm not sure I can relatively, like, functionally explain that to our listeners.
So the SCP Foundation is a wiki. It's a wiki, basically it's a contributed wiki where people make sort of in-universe descriptions of supernatural and strange phenomena, as if it's being done by a government organization that's collecting this. So the SCP Foundation is exactly what you're describing, which is it's supposedly, I mean, it's, this is fictional. It's a foundation which the SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. And so the way that it reads is, and when you go into the wiki, is that they are described like a government agency would describe a phenomenon that they had to report on, and also includes like kind of, vaguely, well, not vaguely, but just fictional scientific studies of these things and the results of testing them with different things. And it's very much like the things. For example, one of the more like well-known ones was one that was a staircase that appears to descend forever. It's SCP-087. They are all numbered.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, so like, and I'm looking at an image now and I'm realizing it, like, there is, like, in the collectibles menu for the game, we're going to talk about collectibles in a second, this game has logos that are direct references to the SCP logo. Like, one of the collectibles menus is, like, it's not the same, but good God, is it similar.
Yeah. And so the SCP Foundation, it's a user-created wiki of these in-universe, but, fictional, but, descriptions of things that this agency has contained and what they do with them. I mean, and it's pretty cool because it usually speaks about them sort of from, well, initially a description that's more detached, like, what is this thing? Where did we find it? What did it do? And then it gets into usually it includes a scientist or a group of scientists, them interacting and like what it was like for them to interact with this object and what the results of some experiments. So like, have a, I could just bring up a random one, but it's like sometimes you'll, alright, so I'm looking at one right here that's a SCP-4139, and it's like, it's a medium-sized white refrigerator, and its subparts, like SCP-4139 1 through 6, refer to 6 crude drawings depicting people and objects in various activities. And so, what it does is... Alright, so, let's see, what does it do? Oh yeah, each of the drawings has a specific kind of power on it. So these scrawled, drawings, put up drawings. So, and that's what it is. It's usually these seemingly mundane things that have this weird supernatural sci-fi aspect to them. So like one of the pages is like, it decreases the thing in weight by a factor of 12, and straps emerge from the back of SCP-4139, allowing it to be carried. I mean, the inside is of course larger than the outside. I mean, it's... Yeah, so so I mean, that's the thing. It describes all these things, it describes what they do, and then usually it has log, which is like basically experimenting with it. So, I mean, if you like kind of themed creepypasta that's sci-fi and kind of, there again, sort of government agency themed as well, kind of like, obviously this is taking cues from X-Files itself and and Fringe and whatnot.
I forgot Fringe. Yeah, it's got some of that too.
Yeah. So I feel like, Control has a heavy, in a good way, in a very, because you do actually run into circumstances where there's a description, and then you actually get to see the object.
Well, so, and this is actually where the game gets even cooler in some ways. So, I mentioned collectibles. Like, if you were to just play through this game without ever engaging with the collectibles, you've, in my opinion, so far of the game, the best part of that game. And like, the game itself is kind of, it's not a horror game, it's spooky. Like, it's, if you're in a hiss-infested area, there's, like, weird out-of-body talking, and stuff will pop out of things, and non-Euclidean geometry and all that. Like, it's psychologically spooky, but not, like, jump-scary spooky, at least not so far kind of thing. Like, even, like, the boss fight that could have been jump-scary that I've been through hasn't been. It's like, yeah, it's creepy, but not. It's not fear. It's not an action game that's got like the fucking girl from The Ring popping out of nowhere at random times. Like, I fully expect to have something like that happen eventually, but it's not what this game is about. It's atmospheric as opposed to boo. But so kind of in service of that, the game has just an obscene number of collectibles, and the collectibles are so fucking cool and add so much to the game. Like, and most of them are just like printed out documents, and they range from mundane shit like meeting notes from the FBC book club, and they're just petty and narcissistic notes from like a book club. Like, it's Josh didn't fucking read the book again. Why do we keep letting him show up? To like a redacted field report on like one of these instances where it's like, we recovered redacted from redacted. Like, there's a great page you pick up at one point where it's like we regret to inform the agency that agent blah blah blah, agent redacted has been killed in the field. Here are phrases that are approved to be used when contacting his widow. It's like condolences, or a best wishes, he was a good man. Phrases to avoid: Alaska, scissors, bled, death, to the pastry. And you're like, what the fuck? The world is kind of cool. Like, and maybe by the end of the game I'll feel it's a complete thing. But like, I think I want more of the FBC. It's like it's government evil. Like, it's those field reports where people are like, man, you keep sending us out to false alarms. The field team's getting real fucking bored of that. We want to see some action. Yeah, and it kind of ties some stuff backwards. Like, the game could obviously be like all objects of power are evil, but they're not. Like, they're just kind of dangerous. Like, the oldest house, the place the entire game takes place in, is an object of power. And kind of in like a weird twist, the object of power, like the power of the oldest house, is that it's the oldest house. Like, unless you're looking for it or trained to find it, you're not ever going to realize it's there, down to the point where the like, again, in the mundane but cool category, there's a memo from the former director about budgetary decreases, and it's this kind of note about how, because the FBC is housed inside the accountants can't actually find the expense reports for the FBC, so spend whatever the fuck you want. Like, they have unlimited budget because no one can track down the information about how much the FBC has spent. It's just a cool game.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, it's like, and even not all of the objects you run into are necessarily even dangerous, they're just so weird.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need, they shouldn't be out in public.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like, maybe something like, every time you place a pencil beside it, the pencil turns into a pen. Not dangerous, but just maybe shouldn't be out there. So, I mean, and so they range in their, the objects tend to range in their safety from extremely mundane effects or changes to ones that are, world-breaking.
Yeah.
And and you're dealing with the world-breaking ones.
Yeah, I'm now called Chili Predicts what the fuck this game is about, because I kind of want to. And again, like, spoilers if you don't want my theories on this one, but Senator Tahit, or however you pronounce his name, it's like, he might be God for all I know. Like, he's the power behind the oldest house, though. He may be like the physical embodiment of the board of directors as well. Like, and this is not a stretch. I'm not really predicting anything that's not abnormal that has been implied by the game already. Like, it's I think that, like, there's been some implications that people knew this shit was coming. I think, like, your brother that you're looking for, I think that's I think your brother was Trench, or he's the janitor. I'm not sure which one. But also, I got no fucking clue, and I'm excited to find out. Like, the game is just cool.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And again, to rehash things, if you don't have a PS4 Pro or the Xbox Elite or whatever the fuck it's called, the Xbox One X, or a really powerful PC, don't get this game. You won't be able to play it. Like I've heard nothing but bad things about the base PS4 version and the Xbox version and like a middle tier PC. Like it requires a substantial amount of power to make this thing run. It's badly optimized. Like Remedy's been out there saying, "Hey, we're gonna fix this. We're not sure why it's running so badly." But yeah, maybe wait a little bit till it's fixed. Like I am waiting for it. Like knowing what I know about how bad this game can run, I've not had the game break yet, but I've definitely had some like exiting a menu take way longer than a menu should have taken to exit, and that's concerning. Like I had a cutscene happen, and then like a solid minute of nothing happening after the cutscene. The characters kind of stare weirdly, and I'm like, well, guess my game crashed. And eventually it fixed itself, but like it's yeah.
It's a very busy game, and so it doesn't surprise me too much.
No,
that
the physics alone are insane. I guess kind of rewind for a quick. This is kind of a Metroidvania as well. Like there's a lot of backtracking. It's also got some Dark Souls stuff where you will find hidden paths that take you back to stuff. You're like, holy shit, how the fuck did I get back here so fast?
Yeah.
It also has, and I think this thing is really cool. It has functional in-world wayfinding, and if you don't know what that means sign that might direct you around the office is actually accurate.
Yeah,
and it's how you navigate in the game. Like you follow the mundane, like the mailroom is that way signs in game to get to the mailroom kind of thing. It's so cool.
It makes it feel real. I mean, there's a lot of little touches like that.
Yeah. And then there's some fun stuff. Like it's the FBC still uses pneumatic tubes with stuff in message bottles kind of thing. Like there's all kind of fun, ridiculous, like, yup, this is exactly what an organization in charge of like like hell, the lore around what the service weapon is. They basically say it's like, yeah, we're not sure where the service weapon comes from, but we're pretty sure it was the following historic items: Excalibur, Mjolnir, the sniper rifle, the crazy Russian sniper had at one point. Like, they list like a bunch of legendary weapons through history. They're like, yeah, we're pretty sure it was all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's enough about Control. I can talk about Starfinder some if you two are interested, but the group I run is officially doing the Starfinder thing. We're in our real campaign with our real characters. No one's died yet. They're doing some kind of PI work right now. They're finding clues to what the hell happened to a missing girl, and they got the shit kicked out of them by a space Russian mobster. But yeah, probably more on that when the campaign concludes itself. Just because in our tabletop updates now, it's kind of Jeff's thing, and I'd like to bring that back, but maybe not on a week-to-week basis. Who's left? It's been long enough now. Is it Henry? You haven't talked yet. Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I had a pretty busy week.
Ooh.
So I went to something called the 626 Night Market, which is a thing here in Los Angeles.
I know it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know about it.
Yeah, and I went to it last year, and I actually totally forgot about this year until I got invited to go again. But essentially, it's a Asian market. It's an Asian night market. There is an entry fee to get in there. It's a contained night, but it's about, I'd say, over half food stalls, and then the other half is sort of various vendors of products, like just crafts and stuff. But it's really the food side. That's what really brings people, because it has some great stuff. It's delicious. I mean, I even posted about it on my Instagram. And so one of the things I had was, one of the booths was a hybrid or a fusion between Indian and Mexican. And it was super good. It was delicious. So it just used kind of spices that are common in both cuisines. I had it was tater tots. It was potato. Yeah, it was like fried potatoes with a bunch of jackfruit. I got the jackfruit on top, and the jackfruit was infused with incredibly tasty. Like, it was good. It was extremely good. The other big thing that I had there was a Hong Kong style waffles, which are sort of have bubbles or balls instead of indentions. So it's pretty easy just to rip off like a piece of it, because you just rip off a piece and it's like you have this little ball of waffle. And they had a lot of different flavors, so I went for the adventurous one. I tried out the seaweed flavor, along with, and it also came with ice cream and some a little bit of fruit, and it was really good. It was actually like the seaweed waffle worked extremely well with the ice, and that was just, I mean, a surprise. I didn't know how it would turn out, how it would be, honestly. I mean, but it was delicious. So, and yeah, they just have so many different types of foods, and that's I enjoy kind of that. Yeah, I enjoy cuisines from, especially creative cuisine, and so that's super cool. And then in the other kind of half is all the craft stuff. And so you get some pretty neat stuff. I mean, some of them are some pretty cool artists. I end up picking up a really neat pin with a dragon on it, and I can't do it justice by describing it. It's extremely detailed, like ridiculously detailed. And so I had a lot of fun at that. That was cool. Went there with several other people, with 3 other people, and so that was really fun. It was really fun just to sort of take it all in, and yeah. And then on Labor Day, so here in the U.S. we have Labor Day, and so Monday was Labor Day, and so I went to Venice Beach, and the funny thing is, all right, so to get there, I took the train to Santa Monica, and so Santa Monica was packed. I mean, it generally is, and so even the beach, it was just, I mean, umbrella beside umbrellas, sun umbrellas. So I mean, it was completely packed. But if you just head down a bit south from that to Venice Beach is like, I mean, just, not sparse so much, but in a certain sense, yeah, it was not crowded at all. And so I had my choice of wherever I wanted to be on the beach, and just sat there and chilled for a bit, took in the Venice Beach vibe, and that was also fun. Went there with one of my friends, and so that was also super cool. And just spent the whole day there, just taking it all in, and so that's cool. And so I like that. I do like the vibe of Venice Beach. It has a cool feel to it. So, but yeah, so I actually went out and did things. So sometimes most of the time I don't really go out around that much, to be honest.
We all lead busy, unfortunate lives.
Yeah, but yeah, and so. Other than that, I did play a game.
Oh.
I played one of the games that I got off of the Epic Store's occasional "Here's a game for free" things. I finally got around to playing Hyper Light Drifter.
Ah.
And all right, so right off the bat, the way it tells its story is completely visual. Like, everything is visual. Like, there's no language ever used. Even the stores and stuff, it's all described to you in visual language, and I think that's very cool. It's very clever, very unique. The game itself has a very cool art style. I mean, all right, and this is a game that's also pixel art, and so the kind of low definition pixel art, the 8-bit or 16-bit style. Loath to give a game like that any credit, because there's so many just very meh pixel art, which just seems to be used as an excuse to just use low res art. But in this case, they've used it very well, and it's visually pretty stunning. It's actually really well done. The atmosphere is nice, and it feels like you are in another world. It really does feel like you're in a completely different place with its own language, its own culture. But yeah, all the storytelling is visual, so I mean, it takes quite a bit of thinking and talent to pull that off, to where the game doesn't just like, what am I doing? I mean, I've played games that straight up kind of have a lot of, actual cues and stuff, and I still end up wondering what I'm doing. But in this game, it's like, no, actually, it's kind of clear what I need to do next. They've used clever visual language and instructions to tell me, all right, so these are things you can do, and here's where you should probably head to next. And so that's pretty cool. It's the one place where it feels a little off for me. All right, so the action itself, and so the way it controls is fine. Like, it's a top-down style of action game, and so you have multiple weapons you can use. So far, I haven't collected that many yet. You start out with a sword and a gun. And the way you control each of those is pretty good. I mean, the sword is just you press one of the face buttons on your controller. And the gun you use by holding down one trigger and then pressing the other trigger to fire. And so it has that type of style for the gun, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that, actually. It feels like you have a little more control over where you're shooting at. And there's some pretty cool mechanics in place. There's a dash that you're invincible during, and so that's your main way of sort of dodging around and getting close to enemies or making a lot of distance very quickly. And so, but the one thing that, all right, and so this has happened with me on a few games is there's too many effects, and they actually end up covering up the action, so it gets hard to see your character or to tell you where your character actually is. And so when stuff starts to get in the way of action and you have a very action-oriented game, I think you should consider cutting it down, because the other problem is the game isn't using transparency. Like, there's no transparency in the game, so when they use an effect, it just covers everything up. You can't see what's underneath at all. And the game has a lot of effects going on, and so it's easy to get very lost. And I've played games like this before where the same thing was happening. It's just, there's so much going on, it's too busy, and then the action's being covered up by too many effects. Yes, the effects are very cool, but they also interfere with what needs to be fairly precise action. I mean, to get out of the way of an enemy to attack that enemy, you have to be able to really focus on where you are on the screen, and that gets increasingly difficult when there's a lot of enemies firing off a lot of different effects all at the same time. And so that would be my only kind of quibble with it. Also, right now, just the combat's a bit, I don't know, because I only have the first two weapons. I mean, I'm interested to see what the other weapons will be like and what they add to the combat. But yeah, the base combat is fine. But yeah, it's the effects that are getting in the way, and I think designers should be more wary of that. I mean, one of the reasons why, like for me, like Spelunky is just really easy to play. Nothing ever obscures the action. I'm never like, well, what hit me actually, or how did I die in Spelunky? It has just enough stuff to where it doesn't just feel like it's flat, but it doesn't have so many sort of crazy effects going on to where you don't know what happened to you. And it's already happened to me in Hyper Light Drifter, where who actually hit me? I can't tell who hit me because there's so much weird stuff going on, and stuff is covering up each other. So now I really can't tell what's going on, and I don't know who's attacking me, or sometimes even what is attacking me. Some of the smaller creatures are entirely covered up by some of these attacks and the effects coming off of the attacks. And so at that point it just becomes sort of a pain, and it's just like, well, I guess I'm just blindly slashing here, hoping that the tiny creatures that are also attacking me don't hit me. And so that's where it gets kind of frustrating. And so I feel like that's something they probably could have improved in the game. But I mean, so yeah, I don't like a lot of the I like this game, but like I said, I don't like a lot of the pixel games. I think they're lazy and uninspired.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, and even alright, so like the new one that got a lot of hype, but it's just all nostalgia hype, is River City Girls, and I'm like, wow, that's a very mediocre beat 'em up.
Is that even still technically a sequel to Ransom or Ready for City Ransom 2 or something like that still?
It's I guess it's just thematically similar, but I mean they throw in enemies from the Double Dragon series too, so I mean, but it's just like I'm like, wow, this has already been made like 10 times before. Like the Scott Pilgrim game was this game, except Scott Pilgrim game had way more moves you could do. The NES River City Ransom had seemed to have a wider variety of moves. I mean, I'm just like, the game's fine, it controls fine, but it's just incredibly unimpressive. I mean, like the art is fine, I guess, but it also switches between this high def art for the cutscenes, this high definition artwork, and then it's all pixel stuff for the game itself, and so that's kind of jarring, and that's obvious, and that's like, you should stick with one or the other. If you're going to make a game, stick with one or the other. Don't mix it, or else it just makes the game itself feel, I don't know. I just think it's lazy. A lot of pixel games are incredibly lazy in their artwork, and this one, the sprite work is average. I mean, it's not particularly great. It's not bad, but the sprite work is very average. It also includes some cringy stuff, like there's actually one of the moves that I saw that you can do, which is a dab. Yeah.
I am not looking forward to Borderlands. I'm 100% sure Dab Trap is in that game.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I am really, really, really sick of these pixel games coming out, because anymore, with the rare ones that I've seen that are like, ooh, that one actually is well done and the artwork's cool and I like it, and then there's like 50 bajillion that are just like awful to average. And there again, it just seems like it was a cheap way to get out of making high definition artwork. And so I want more 2D artwork that's not freaking pixel style. I just think that's...
So, and we don't normally do this because this game is Hyper Light Drifter. We're not saying if you like pixel art, you're a bad person. Henry just doesn't like pixel art.
Yeah.
We know this game won a bunch of awards.
Hyper Light Drifter is super pixel art. Yeah. I like extremely good pixel art. But just average pixel art is just like, why? Yeah. We're in a modern gaming...
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get across. Like, this is exceptional pixel art. We're not bashing pixel art. We're bashing the overuse of it, not Hyper Light Drifter specifically for being pixel art.
Because Hyper Light Drifter is beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's gorgeous. It has some amazing pixel art in it. The backgrounds are absolutely stunning. They do with some of the scrolling, like it's the parallax scrolling. It just there's some really dramatic reveals with that, and it's just really, really beautiful. But it's the rarity among
it won a bunch of awards for design, and so then deserves it, kind of thing. I just wanted to clarify that we're not knocking pixel art. Like we're not knocking this game's pixel art. We're knocking the concept of pixel art and the overuse of it. Like and dabbing. We're knocking dabbing.
Yeah. Okay. We are dunking on dabbing. Yes. So yeah. All right, so other than that, I watched I was looking around, when it comes to anime, I tend to go for stuff that's not high school, because, oh boy, I am a couple of decades out of high school, and so that stuff super doesn't interest
me. Oh, come on,
me.
Old man. Get in there and feel connected to the young people.
You just gotta walk up and be like, hello, fellow kids.
Yeah.
How's that newest anime? I think Naruto is the best, Dr. Bayo.
Can you believe the filler arc is over?
But yeah,
that's the thing people say, right?
That's why I'm in. I'm into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's not for kids. So I tend to try to look for ones like that.
Or
and so
is it maybe?
It's for all ages.
Yes.
But it's not like it does involve some people that are in high school, but it is not about high school. It's not about high school life. As people who watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure are fully aware of. But all right, so what I watched was it was there again, kind of similar in that the characters are younger. At first, I didn't realize that. All right, and I'll describe why. And so I watched an anime called Dagashi Kashi. It's available on Funimation's site through their streaming, and it's essentially like this love letter to older Japanese snacks and sort of what's kind of considered traditional ones, even modern traditional, I'd say, snacks that became popular in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. And so, that it's classic, not necessarily like going back 100 years, but 50 years. And so the premise is there's a main character. The main character is the son of a shop owner, a traditional Japanese snacks shop owner, which is very much a thing in Japan,
sure.
And in rural Japan especially, like these locally owned places that just stock tons and tons of candy and snacks and such that are oft like a lot of them are like
US,
super.
We call them 7-Elevens.
But it'd be more like these sort of locally owned sweet places.
Yes.
that exist here too. But yeah, and so the character but he doesn't want to take it over. And in sort of a very tropish type of thing, the daughter of like a major owner of a major snacks company wants to come and hire the main character's father, who's apparently kind of a genius when it comes to snacks and sweets or something, but prefers to just live a small town life running this little shop. So she comes to try to convince him, and she's just sort of this very crazy, quirky character, that type of thing, throwing a crazy, quirky city character into quiet country life.
Is she the hero dreams of sushi of snacks?
Kind of.
Fair enough.
I mean, she's.
I didn't think it was going to land, actually.
Yeah, pretty much like that, because she's super, super snacks and absolutely loves them and just has this encyclopedic knowledge. And so in some ways, the show ends up being like this 20-something minute long commercial for a variety of different snacks for many different companies. And so that's the interesting thing about it. It's like, it is definitely many different snacks from many different companies. So I imagine this is completely supported by ad revenue. But it's a nice little story. See, at first, because it's like the main character is taking over his dad's store, or at least his dad wants him to, and then one of his friends is working at her family's cafe, which is like a general cafe with like coffee and stuff like that. And so this is taking place like during a summer break. So they aren't in school, but it's more of this, really the story revolves around the just kind of encyclopedic descriptions of candy and just silly things that they get up to. And so it's fun. Like I said, I was hoping it'd be a little bit more older audience tilted, but it's still been a fun watch. And I kind of like shows about food. I've watched several shows about food at this point. Some of them specific, like, that get into the real aspects of the food and then just kind of weaving a story around it. Like Restaurant from Another World was one of my favorites. That went on for a little while.
Did you watch Polar Bear Cafe ever?
No, actually, I haven't seen it.
That one might be a rally.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, this one was definitely, but yeah, I like the subject matter. It is interesting. I kind of like to see the history behind some of these foods, these snacks that I've personally tried out and eaten, honestly. And so, but yeah, that's just, it's very lighthearted. It's fun. It's there again. It's throwing in a trope of like the crazy city person coming in and sort of throwing a wrench into quiet country life. I mean, that's definitely been a trope I've seen in many media. But I don't mind it. when it's well done, and this is well done. It's lighthearted fun. It's nothing particularly deep, unless you are super into snacks, and then it's deep for you, I guess. But that's pretty much what I got up to this week. I actually had a fairly busy week.
Ready to talk about news?
Sure.
Yeah.
It sounded different this week. I'm not sure why, but it had more of a beat to it than normal. I don't fucking know.
We're trying to be a little hip. Trying to throw in a little more bass. I can do a polka rendition next week.
Oh, please do not do that.
Polka rendition next
Oh,
week. Got it. I'll start
God.
practicing.
Where do you want to start this week? We got a lot of news. I want to start with the Nintendo Direct, I guess Nintendo-related news.
Sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so there was a Nintendo Direct. In typical Nintendo Direct fashion, it was very Nintendo-y. It was a YouTube video. A lot of stuff got revealed for it. Probably, depending on who you are, the biggest piece of news to come out of it is that one Terry Bogard is coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Say the joke, Alex.
Mm-hmm. Say what joke?
That Smash Brothers has now become the video game of video games.
It really is video games, the fucking video game.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Power Wave. Burning Knuckle.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Rooms of people playing Smash Ultimate to be just filled with Power Wave, Burning Knuckle, over and over again.
We have a Smash Finals for a tournament that's just like Ryu or Ken versus Terry Bogard, and none of the Nintendo characters are involved in the finals. Where it's like, the fuck are we watching?
I would like to give a shout out to Nintendo for officially starting off Capcom versus SNK Part 3.
Yeah.
Before Capcom
did.
Yep.
Shout out
a little bit, yeah. Fuck, there's even Mega Man in the game already. Yeah.
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 What other characters should they get?
Well, you've got to get Mai.
Okay.
You've got to get SNK. You've got to get the Samurai from Samurai Showdown, the main one.
Yeah, Halomaru, who's already appearing in other games as it is. Soul Calibur for one.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing
Iori,
there's no samurai
Yagami?
character in Smash.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Interesting. I would have imagined that there would be one by
No,
now.
me too.
Like even like Goemon.
Or just like a samurai. I guess Greninja's in there, but...
That's
but
it's like...
It's not even a samurai sword, though, or anything from the items, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, we do have enough sword characters already in.
What I'm hearing, Alex, is we need more sword characters.
Exactly. Specifically from the Fire Emblem series.
Really, if you're in a Fire Emblem game...
That's a franchise they have yet to really tap into.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe Waluigi will be a samurai.
Terry walking American stereotype Bogard.
Yep. Get wrecked.
He power waves onto your consoles in the near future.
Yep. As part of this direct, it was revealed... sorry, I gotta rewind some and cover something that's very near and dear to at least me and Henry's heart on this one. As part of the Smash Brothers reveal, Banjo-Kazooie's out, by the way, already, and as part of that reveal, but it was out the day after the direct or the day of the direct going up. I don't fucking remember. But as part of this, we learned that I can fucking whoop anyone's ass at Smash one-handed. Like, if you haven't seen this shit, watching him play himself with just holding two controllers is kind of amazing.
Yeah, and he's doing this, playing very well while talking to everybody in this video. I mean, he is literally talking about the game and talking about stuff while playing against two other CPU players. It's madness.
It's amazing.
It is so cool.
It's like he's having a hard time. This seems like I now understand why it takes so long to make a Smash game. Sakurai has to playtest every matchup himself.
Yeah.
You know,
he's the Shaggy of the Smash world. He's only using point something % of his power.
I want to see him play in a tournament now.
Like,
as much as he would probably fucking hate being in a tournament for Smash, I want to see him, like, at least at E3 for 2020, I want to see him take on the top Smash players. Or so. I feel like I deserve that at this point for putting up with Smash as part of the FGC. I want the obvious god of Smash to come in and just be like, "Oh, you think you're good at my game? Pshaw! I'm not even using both hands yet.
I'm about to end these people's careers."
Yeah. I want to see Sakurai go, like, Super Saiyan and what that looks like in Smash, where it's just like, "Oh, you guys are using this tech I have in the game. What tech? What do you mean every character's instant transmission? Yeah, it's in the game. Did no one data mine this?" What do you mean everyone has a one-hit kill option? Everyone has a one-hit kill option. You mean like the Smash Ball? No, at all times. You just input these 4 commands and you trigger it. What?
But and he even talks about the fact that he has to hold them side by side now because of the way the controllers are, because stacking them on top of each other wasn't working. It was like he was accidentally pressing some of the buttons. And so now he just holds one in each hand.
Yeah.
Because that's how he rolls. It's ridiculous.
I hate this phrase, but absolute mad lad.
Yeah.
Yep. What a Smash Chad there. Just totally
moving on. I hate that one too. Bad lad somehow.
So this is all right. So we got something for the people who are into retro nostalgia. A bunch of Super Nintendo games have been announced.
Almost every Super Nintendo game you might care about that's actually a Nintendo property at this point, but also including others that are but a lot of very good ones. All right. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm glad that Demon's Crest got included in there because that's a cool game. That's a super cool game. But I mean, this is like, here's actually the best Super Nintendo games, not whatever we decided to shovel onto you.
I think Star Fox 2 should be on there personally.
Yeah.
That fucking console should be in the game.
But I mean, at least Star Fox is on there. But but like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, I mean, all the Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. This Link to the Past, it's hitting all of the big ones. So I mean, it's the most popular games have already been announced.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty impressive, to be honest.
On top of that, the mining of Wii U games continues. Tokyo Mirage Session, # FE Encore. I fucking hate the Mirage game. It's got too many titles now.
But yeah, I'm excited about that because I wasn't ever going to buy a Wii U, and I might well buy a Switch, especially with the smaller Switch that's coming out.
Yeah,
which is going to be cheaper as well. But yeah, this one, which is the best matchup possible, which is Shin Megami Tensei plus Fire Emblem, Fire Emblem, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I've never played the game, I just know of it. Like, in the JRPG community, people fucking just, like, go hard on that game.
Yeah, and so I've been wanting to play that because, I am a super fan of the Shin Megami Tensei series, the larger world of that, the 50 or so games in that series. And I'm not, those that know, I'm not exaggerating at all. But yeah, but with Fire Emblem in the most crazy looking game ever. But yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah. At the end of the spectrum of that one, we have the announcement that Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise, a game no one wanted, but we're all super excited is happening now, is coming in 2020. It appears it will be a Switch exclusive. If you don't know what the fuck a Deadly Premonition 1 is, you're not alone. It's a PS3?
PS3.
Yeah, I thought it was PS2 as well. It is a weird game made by Swery, who I know we've talked about on this podcast before. It is Twin Peaks the video game, but Swery swears he has never seen or heard of Twin Peaks. Where people are like, hey, this is like Twin Peaks. Like, what the fuck's a Twin Peaks? It is a weird murder mystery, Resident Evil-ish game that the creator has gotten out there on numerous occasions and said, man, I wish I hadn't been forced to put combat in this game. Like, in so many ways, it was ahead of its time, and in so many ways, it's just it's one of the last truly bizarre games made for a PlayStation console that was like, yeah, you can pick this up for $20. Oh, it's old? No, it's out today. Like, this was a truly bizarre game that got a real cult following to it that in no way needed a sequel, but I'm sure people are fucking stoked it's getting a sequel.
Yeah.
I don't love the game, but I'm excited to see the bullshit that comes out with that, because holy shit I would never say go play Deadly Premonition. Go find a PlayStation, like especially done by people that are big Twin Peaks fans. Watch that maybe instead, because holy shit, like the
mechanics of the game were rough, is one of the reasons I say that.
Yeah.
The actual playing the game is a bit rough, the way the mechanics work, but the atmosphere and the way it folds out, like the way the story unfolds is
just the general weirdness
really
of the game too.
Yeah. But that's cool. That's interesting.
Like, it is a game where they have, like, intentionally awkward cutscenes that, like, zoom out to reveal the two characters to see that, like, a 40-foot-long table, and you're like, what the shit? Yeah. Assassin's Creed Rebel Collection will be available December 6th. It is Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Assassin's Creed Rogue coming to the Switch. It's the pirate games.
Yep.
Yar.
Only one of those is good. Rogue is fine. Rogue is the weird one too, where you're playing an assassin that defects and becomes a Templar. Like, it's weird, but it's also cool they're bundling them together. I might guess that both of these would come out to other consoles, but I don't know. This might be a Switch exclusive thing. They're already available. In the weirder category, Rogue was the one made for old consoles when the PS4 and Xbox One launched. Like, its history is just strange.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As part of this, part of the same direct, we learned that Overwatch is coming to Switch, a platform with no in-game or in-kind of system-based voice support.
Yep.
So, funny tidbit about that. Overwatch came out and said they're going to be integrating their own Overwatch voice chat stuff in the game for it. So that takes care of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're doing which does not provide a viable or reasonable voice chat.
Okay, let's stick to the more cynical aspect then. The internet on the Switch sucks.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how that happens. I mean, the company that ported them is a pretty good at kind of net code and just general ports. So we'll see. We'll have to see.
Yep. Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition, I think this is the second Definitive Edition I've heard about for this game, is out already. It's got cross-save between it and the Steam version, which is cool. Game Freak has a new game called Town. It's now revealed to be called Little Town Hero. Not much is known about this still yet. A guy that did a bunch of work for Undertale's working on it, so that could be cool. In the category of no one asked for this, but we're getting it, Bethesda is re-releasing Doom 64.
Yep.
Yep.
But the Doom 64 was a weird animal. So, I mean, if you know anything about the game, it did a lot of stuff that it was kind of like in between Doom and as far as the technology goes. It had a kind of a clever way of having room over room, where they just kind of had it's hard to describe it, but it's a different beast than it's not Doom. It is a sequel to Doom 2, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And it is where the backstory of the newest Doom game comes from, to be honest. Like, where Doom 64 ends, that's the space where there's a long period of time, and then the newest Doom game begins, and so it is not a rehash of the older Doom game, so that is interesting. But
it's its own thing.
Yeah, it's a completely different story. It is a continuation of.
I remember owning the Nintendo Power for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
in the same, no one asked for this category. I'm mispronouncing all types of shit today. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast is coming to Switch on September 24th.
And that is the one I am actually kind of excited.
You can just get it for PC.
Yeah,
I have it for PC, but I like being able to take it on the go.
Okay, so how many mods Jedi Outcast with?
0. I played a set of the game.
Do you do any of the editing to make it so lightsabers are one-hit kills or anything like that?
No.
Okay, cool. So a lot of people don't know what that game is like without those.
Yeah.
Oh no, I played the whole single player game and everything through it. I love the story of the game. I love the multiplayer modes.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Again, we've had the situation of the combat of Skyrim is fine once you install these 9 mods to it. So it's not fine. You just like the mods that make it better. No, it's fine after the mods. I'm playing on console. There's no mods. We should be playing on PC. I'm not. Yeah. Sorry, I just had to check.
No, I used to post I used to set up little servers at my friend's place, and we just played pure vanilla version of that game, PvP. So, the only thing I did do was turn off any weapons other than lightsabers. That was it. Because if you use a gun, you're stupid.
Yes. Super Kirby Clash, to play Kirby game for 4 players, coming to the Switch. That's 100 different quests. It's not quite clear what the free-to-play of this means, but relationship with that so far, so we'll see.
That thing sounds super fun because Kirby is awesome. The Kirby games are universally awesome. And I doubt they're going to mess with the formula that makes the other ones great. I mean, it's just going to be a great Kirby game that's 4-player.
Yeah.
And, hey, I am all for that. I think it's going to be absolutely adorable and fun.
Speaking of fun, Scream Park mode, it got revealed for Luigi Mansion 3. It's a multiplayer. It's a versus
arena
mode of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah, arena combat.
2 to 8 players. Again, this is a game. This is for a console with infamously bad internet. But probably on to the news that most people care about, or one of the 2 big things. Pokemon Sword and Shield got some details. They showed off the Poke Camp where you can kind of frolic with your Pokemon. You can make camp and hang out with them. They showed off some of the character customization options, which I'm not going to lie, I'm super into. You can really make a unique looking character as a result of that, which I like. Probably the most important thing, Pokemon curry. Not you can make curry from Pokemon. I know what I just said sounds like, but you can cook them delicious meals, and you have a curry deck to keep track of your recipes and feed them and
Which
shit.
is amazing.
Yeah.
That's the best. Curry is amazing. I love curry. And so that might make this the first Pokemon game that I've actually wanted to play.
Yeah, and between Bong Weezer and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll check this shit out. Maybe it's worth it. I hope someone makes a voice pack that's just a thick Scottish accent for the main character, but I know they won't. That's the one thing you can do to instant sell me on the game. Be able to say okay, what of these 3 regional dialects do you have, and have Scottish be one of them, and have at least it right in the Scottish accent. That's the game takes place in Pokemon England. There's totally sheep. But probably the other big news item is Animal Crossing New Horizons got some details. Showed off the crafting mode, how that will all kind of I don't want to call it colonization, but kind of a building up your town thing to it that sure as fuck feels like colonization. But Other releases, we're just gonna blow through a bunch of these because there's a bunch left. Trials of Mana and remake of Seiken
Densetsu 3
is coming on April 24th of 2020. Return of the Obra Dinn is coming to the Switch this fall. Rogue Company, a game we don't know much about, but from Hi-Res Studios, is coming to Switch in 2020. Tetris 99 is getting a new mode called Invictus for all you hardcore Tetris 99 players. And Daemon X Machina has a new demo that's already out, so if you care about that game, you can go check it out. I think that's the mech game I wasn't a fan of.
Yes, it is a mech game.
I did not think the combat for that game was good.
Hmm.
No one agreed with me on that, but I'm not sure if they've ever played Iron Core. Yeah. Not part of this direct, though, was some good old weird Nintendo news. In the same spirit as kind of the Wii Fit, we have the Nintendo Fitness Belt Ring thing. No official name yet, I don't think, but it appears a combination of like a hard plastic circle and like also the ability to strap a Joy-Con to you or something along those lines.
Yeah,
and it's a bunch of
that's my
exercises.
favorite part.
Yeah, it
straight up straps Joy-Cons to you.
So the way it seems to work is you put a Joy-Con into the plastic ring, and that picks up on various motions. What I'm doing is not describing the trailer, just fucking idiot using this thing, but it also illustrates the idea that, like, based on have like an archery game or Pilates and yoga and like aerobics exercises done with this thing. Like, it's lots of people making straining faces, doing weird shit with this ring. Yeah. Could be a success. I know the Wii Fit was.
Oh, you know what?
Hmm?
All right, now that I'm looking at it closer, I've seen other. Oh yeah. It's one of these tension ring things that people use that's already existing.
Yeah.
Except with Joy-Cons thrown into it.
Gamification, baby.
Yep. And I. Yeah.
Oh, people are fucking idiots using this thing. It's great. Like, it's no dignity is used in this trailer.
Oh yeah. But if it gets people to exercise, like, that's not bad. I doubt they will, but I think some people will, certainly.
Yep.
Maybe not after watching this commercial. But...
It's just the kind of device you use in a totally dark room with no windows for fear of someone being like, "What you doing with that ring?" Oh God! It's not. I'm exercising. Yeah. Really? That's what you call exercising? Okay.
All I gotta say is they failed a pristine opportunity to bring back Reggie to introduce this and say my body is ready.
We don't,
because that's how they introduced the Wii. Was it the Fit thing? Last time, wasn't it?
That predates that, I think, though too. I don't know. We don't know what Bowser has to say about this. Bowser could do something fun with it still.
Yep.
Like, if there's not somebody of him using it being like, I'm going to kill that Mario while using it, a missed opportunity has definitely transpired. Yeah. Not a lot of details on this thing, except it makes people look weird while using it, but exercise makes people look weird in general. So, yeah. Where to go next? Let's burn through some game release stuff. Torchlight 2. Remember Torchlight 2? It's coming to consoles, apparently, in the near future. I didn't know that it hadn't already done that.
I'm shocked it wasn't already.
That's the general reaction everyone's had to when I've said this to them. Trying to find an exact release.
Torchlight's kind of fun, too.
Torch good.
Yeah,
I like Torchlight. It's got weirdness in it. Those who know what Torchlight is, it was a competitor to Diablo. It's a lot of people argue, is Torchlight 2 better than Diablo 3? Some say yes, some say no. It's got stuff.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
And it probably works fine on a console. Yeah. I mean, it would work out on a console. It's not exactly a new game at this point, but
yeah,
I'm sure it'll be fun. But yeah, oh wow. 12.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a time.
Yeah.
Alex had the correct reaction. What do you mean it's not already out on consoles?
Yeah.
I saw this, I'm like, it's not already? I thought they were talking about that for fucking ever.
Yep.
Where to go next? I guess kind of skipping releases. If you have Destiny 2 Forsaken but didn't buy the season pass, you'll get that for free on September 17th.
That's pretty cool.
Regardless of kind of what platform you're playing on. I feel a little bit stupid because I definitely bought that for the PC in preparation of wanting to play on it for a couple months before Shadowkeep came out, and I'm like, man, could spot Forsaken, but no.
The year 2 annual
for
pass.
Free, yeah.
There's only been 1 year annual pass,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we'll be getting the second one for free. Okay.
No, you get the one for Forsaken for free. Remember, Forsaken is just that you should already have. I'm talking the one with Black Armory, Joker's Wild, or Season of the Drifter, and Season of Opulence.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. One, if you will, not one that doesn't contain Osiris and Warmind in it. That one you should have gotten for free when you bought Forsake, but it's neither here nor there. Crossed off the wrong thing. My bad. Other releases. This one was another one. We talked about it some, but yes, they're indeed making a Doom Eternal vodka. I think we talked about that in our preamble. If not, hey, they're making a Doom Eternal vodka with bones in it. I don't know which preamble I'm using at time of recording. Probably that one, so this is redundant at this point. It's not necessarily released, but it's kind of a quick and funny one. Kojima got out there and said that if you're interested in what the fuck the hype around Death Stranding is, but aren't good at video games, there's going to be a very...
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know what?
I want to play the story.
It makes a heck of a lot of sense, to be honest. I mean,
especially for Kojima.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's making a film. It really is like, it's the most, film-ass game.
We have no idea.
I mean, holy crap. So,
seems like a
I
smart
think that's
move.
actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if only you're going to open to, hey, literally anybody can play this.
Yeah, and I think I'm not sure if that thing has buzz that gets out of the gaming space, but I have gotten the impression it does. And the idea is like, yeah, if you're on this, you can play my game if you'll buy it. Why? I have a very easy mode for you non-gamers. But I also love the fact that it's like, if you're, for the film crowd, I have very easy mode. I'm like, I appreciate the fact that you're like, for the non-gamers, we have fucking easy mode.
And it doesn't surprise me. I mean, the of very popular actors he's brought into this, it's gotten bigger buzz than out of just, the video game world.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yep. What next? As our resident troll, Alex, do you want to talk about the current state of WoW Classic?
People are playing WoW Classic. I've heard stories.
Oh, I'm talking about the ongoing DDoS attacks.
Oh, the DDoS shit's still happening. Yeah. So apparently a few days ago they started DDoSing or just WoW servers in general, so people couldn't log on. And it's apparently been an ongoing thing for the last couple days, on again, off again, where they just DDoS the fucking servers. So, yeah, it's annoying, but it is what it is. People DDoS and shit for no reason, but other than just be dicks.
You know what?
Whatever.
Maybe it's a part of the classic feel. To get a real feel for what it was like to be classic, you have to include DDoSing as well, because that's a part of the game.
Yeah.
It's just another nostalgic feature.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this really it does feel like they're really delivering the classic WoW experience. So, again, but doesn't matter because even then with retail, it's also been a thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's the same servers, but I think it's funny that I've heard stories of WoW guilds breaking up in retail because they've moved on to go back to play classic. Which is, I think, stupid, because
that's amazing.
Classic's already been fucking done. It's not new content. But, hey, whatever makes you happy. So, no, that's just, for me, that's just been a dumb thing. But whatever.
DDoSing in general fucking sucks. It's not like it's skilled hacking, it's just denial of services, as the name implies.
Yep. all it does is you just send a bunch of data their way from
Yeah.
a lot of different servers, a lot of different sources.
Yeah.
That's it.
In the same vein of things, Alex, would you like to do the other piece of troll reporting we have this week about EA's new Guinness Book of World Record title?
Oh, yeah, dude. EA has made it to the official Guinness World Record. And, I mean, you think, for making a very popular franchise, for crushing it in the gaming
Most
industry.
soccer players
right?
in one booster pack, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're expecting they got, right, guys?
No, not at all.
Oh, no. No. Actually, their record is for the most downvoted comment on, which is fucking great.
Oh,
Because I think to this date, that downvote,
it's still the most downvoted. As the Guinness record implies, it is the single most downvoted thing ever on Reddit.
all right.
Yes.
And to give you the scale on that, so this one, it has 683,000 downvotes. The second most downvoted comment is like a tenth of that. Is a downvotes, or I guess closer to like a seventh of that. Like, yeah, so it's like 7 times larger than its next competitor for downvotes. So I mean, it's at an extreme number. It's crazy.
Yeah, so if for those of you wondering what the context was for the comment, in regards to a post that was made by a user on the Star Wars Battlefront subreddit when Battlefront 2 was coming out, and it turns out that certain other characters were locked behind loot box heroes and you couldn't play them to begin with. Now, this is the most memed line I think for a long time, probably still memed to this day. It was the response from EA's community team with the player who was upset about having their having Vader and Luke and all those characters locked behind loot boxes in order to play them as heroes. And so the response was, the intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As initial value space upon blah, 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 blah. Jerk, loot boxes are, and it's not a ripoff, you swear. But yeah.
Surprise mechanics.
Circle jerk. E for everyone, especially with our gambling stuff in games. Yeah. So anyway, it was downvoted to fucking oblivion, and it became a good fucking meme. But yeah, it's the comment sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking loot box based heroes. So, it's fucking great. So, I mean, I just want to give EA credit for having a sense of pride.
Oh no, you don't have to give them credit, Alex. The Guinness Book of World Records is doing that for you. Finally,
yeah,
some mainstream recognition for all their contributions to the gaming industry.
Mm-hmm.
They're a name in a book.
Thank you, based EA, for being shit tier human beings. Appreciate it.
Indeed. There was some Bungie got out there and announced some changes to Destiny 2. We're not going to go into the full details here, but I'm going to cover, as a now Hunter main, I'm just kind of sitting in the corner being like, oh, you poor fucking Titans and you poor fucking Warlocks. My tether's still great.
Yeah.
But no, if you want the full details, go track them down yourself. Basically, the game's had a bit of an auto-reloading issue for a little bit now, and it's bringing stuff like Whisper of the Worm back to relevancy. Alex, you unfortunately have missed the time period of Warlocks just being way too OP in raid situations and removing a lot of the mechanics from the game. Welcome back. But you missed the ridiculous time period. The dark times, according to some. But yeah, it's if you're into Destiny, it's for the most part good stuff, and/or no one should be surprised by these changes. Many will be annoyed or upset because it's given kind of the state of the game right now. But like, if you're being honest with yourself, you saw all of these things coming. I'm sorry, but they were inevitable. Shit was too broken.
Yeah.
Spike grenades should not be that good. Yeah. Moving on from that, we have some kind of sad news for Henry this week. I'm just gonna let him read it himself, so I don't butcher her name by accident.
Yes, Ikumi Nakamura, who was the creative director on Ghostwire Tokyo, has departed the studio. And for those that you don't remember, she kind of got some internet fame during a presentation. During a
Bethesda E3 2009 presentation, to be precise.
Yeah, and it was just really just joyful and honest and really wonderful, and it's just like this really great little, just actually felt like genuine presentation when for stiff, overly scripted, robotic, cringy crap.
Even our cynical hearts were warmed to see someone that seemed to genuinely want to be there. We're like, huh,
yeah,
this person wants to be at E3 still. What the fuck's wrong with her?
Yeah, but she was the creative director, and so that's kind of a there. We've even reported recently on another creative director that left part way through again. It's often not a great sign, because the creative director it's a little bit different from company to company. The creative director is sort of the glue between all the artistic assets and the general theming of the game. So, and I'm a person that is big on game theming. That is where it feels like the art and sound and music design and everything feels like a unit whole. That they all fit together well, and that's a lot of what a creative director does. They are making assets themselves, usually in artwork and key art and stuff like that, but they're also making sure that everything works well together. They're kind of the glue between all the art going on. And so, I don't know what this means for the Devokyo. So
that thing seems done-ish enough that we don't know where that thing status-wise is. The Halo one was a little bit more disquieting because we don't know what the fuck that game is. Like, it might be far enough on that it just makes sense to make a departure. It's like Henry said, she kind of got a little bit of internet fame off that whole E3 thing, so maybe she was approached with a deal that was too good to pass up or something like that. That's what you hope for. You hope it's not something more problematic.
She wants as sort of a, an interesting, maybe a real.
It seems like she left of her own accord, at least based on what I could find. Like, it doesn't seem like she was forced out or fired. So
nothing about this says, well, but I want to believe that it is a more positive reasons. But in any case, she had also worked previously on like the Evil Within series, as well as Bayonetta and Okami. So I mean, she's got the pedigree, yeah, and so. It is a shame to see. Like I said, it's kind of an important role in a game, but I guess if it's nearing completion, I guess we
have no way of knowing.
Her input isn't as necessary as it might have been. But
the one funny reaction I had to this is based on her last couple projects. It's not quite clear what Ghostwire Tokyo is. It seems to have some horror aspects to it, but it'd be really funny if she's like, gets her neck. She's like, "Hi, I want to announce Murder Alley, the most horrifying video game ever made, but I'm still super positive about it." That was the one takeaway I had from that. It's like, what if she's like, "Man, these games aren't gory enough."
She on her sort of goodbye tweet, she even linked her LinkedIn account, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But that's there again, kind of sad news in a certain sense. But
it's a little bit of a slow news week, and it's been a super bummer lately, so I thought I'd throw this fun one in there.
Yeah.
Speaking of super bummers, Nathaniel Blue, a business developer at Steam business development kind of person there, got out there and reflected some on the comment that, kind of kicked off this whole Steam versus Epic Store ongoing thing we have. I'm not sure what the fuck to call it. Like, internet fight, hissy fit, cats circling each other, yowling at each other. And, like,
nope.
I'm not saying I'm not saying his, like, response to it at the time was wrong. but he does seem kind of remorseful on the fact that it's taken on, like, because we're Valve and it took on a life beyond maybe what they thought it was going to. Like, they are competitors, but I think he also understands the idea that, like, we didn't mean for, like, game developers to start getting targeted for going to the other platform. That's shitty.
Yeah.
And that's what he kind of was trying to address more, I guess, officially. Like, it's a bit of a meander thing to it, but it does seem to be kind of someone from Steam getting out there and saying, like, man, we did not quite realize the far-reaching ramifications of that statement, which was, it's kind of unfair that Metro Exodus is leaving, and it was, but also, holy shit, look where we are now. Like, devs are getting legitimately harassed because they're going for a platform with a better revenue split.
Yeah.
But in that same vein of things, Alex, you got some Borderlands 2 news for us.
Oh, yeah. So, Borderlands 3 is coming out pretty
2.
soon. Yeah. Borderlands 3 is coming out soon, and there was no news about being able to preload the game, a feature that's been out for a bunch of other companies since 2004, I want to say. Probably?
I've never successfully preloaded a Steam game ever, so I don't feel too bad on this one.
Really?
It's always done.
I've
always had to reinstall the game after preloading it. Yeah.
Really? That's fucking weird. I've had no issues with it ever for all these years.
I haven't sort of pre-ordered a game before release in, like,
Henry's
decades.
right. Henry's the smart one on this one.
Like,
yeah, Henry wins when it comes to
I tend to wait live reviews of the game before I start to consider buying it, to be honest. For me to buy a game, like, really quickly upon release, so... But I understand a lot of people do, and that's to play it literally the minute that it's allowed to be played, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if you're doing a live service game, you would want that feature to be available as soon as it's there. I mean, WoW preloads and a bunch of other games do. But, for getting the preloading stuff done, oh wait, it wasn't Epic. Borderlands 3 devs had to write that up so the Epic Store could actually preload games.
Yep.
But it's alright though, because it's on the roadmap for the Epic Store.
Yeah.
Which they took the dates off of. Because they couldn't keep up with their dates for their release on the roadmap.
Which is fun into why, but yeah.
I think roadmaps are probably going to become one of the biggest memes for this year's...
I think we unfortunately had a year of teaching people don't do, like, as useful as they can be, they also put you in a bit of a bind where it's like, you missed this. We never had any dates on. We showed you a fancy infographic. You missed it!
Yep.
I feel like if you have to put out a roadmap for something, it's usually a bad sign.
No, because WoW has been doing roadmaps forever.
How have they've been putting out, like, actual infographics?
They've had release schedules, yeah. It's like, do you know,
like, roadmap level, like hey, we're going to implement this on this date, and this
they give
this
you
date.
time frames,
not the level like they did Destiny 2 and Division.
Yeah, but it's still
2
a roadmap. Like, I'm saying, like, the exact dates, that's maybe your problem, but also Destiny's hit most of its exact dates. Like, and Shadowkeep's the first thing to fuck up on that one. There's nothing wrong with roadmaps necessarily. Unrealistic timetables, that's a problem. Like, if you're using a roadmap to say, like, hey, these will show up at some point in this time frame, that's overly specific ones, that's the problem. Release schedules for living games are important.
What I will say, they'll release certain things, like the Dance Studio, which never came out until maybe a few months ago, actually, and they talked about that back in Wrath, but that was part of a quote-unquote expansion feature. It wasn't a roadmap. Like, they don't actually have that on there. Like, hey, this is what's coming out on this roadmap. No, they have PTRs and stuff, but it's not like a roadmap like they did with, like, Destiny 2 and Division 2 and Anthem. Those are way different levels of roadmaps. And a roadmap release for something, it's always been a fucking clusterfuck as far as I'm concerned. So, just roadmaps are just a meme, I think, this year when it comes to stuff.
I think you're tying them too much this year than they should be. They are increasingly problematic. Like, the PUBG roadmap is a real problem.
PUBG roadmap, freaking the Epic Store roadmap, Anthem roadmap.
There was no roadmap for Anthem.
Oh, there was. There was.
No, we got a fancy piece of paper that was a lie.
Yeah. So I think at one point we need to come up with a new award for the end of the year game awards, and just throw like the roadmap game of the year or some shit like that. I don't know. We'll come up with something, but I feel like roadmaps at this point are just meme material. Don't actually mean anything. But that's just me. But yeah, I just like I want to give the Epic Store some credit for some stuff, but when you have to have another third-party dev come up with the code for you guys to do preloading for a game, it's fucking stupid. But anyway.
Sure, I'm not sure you necessarily need to have preloading for games, but I get who it's for. I'm not one of those people. I have a day job I have to go to. Like,
yeah. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there. That was fun, especially with the imminent release of Borderlands 3.
Yeah, the last minute controversy we did. I still don't know, actually. Like, this is something that people seem weirdly not talking about at all. I don't know if Epic Store and Steam will be cross-playable. I assume so, but no one's actually confirmed that yet.
Oh, that would be fucking great.
Well, I do know that Borderlands doesn't use, like, even on Steam, it never used the back end for Steam. It used its own.
Yeah.
So it's even its own login.
That's why I'm not too worried. Yeah, the whole shift keys. That's like, again, I'm not too worried, but like, it's weird. No one said that, like, oh, by the way, you can totally play Steam. Because if this was Windows Store versus Steam, we'd be having a very different conversation.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it seems like, I mean, they didn't even use the back end for Steam in the first place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see that being a problem. I mean, they're probably not going to be using Epic's back end either.
Yeah.
They're going to be using their own. So, yeah, I don't see that as being a problem.
I don't either, but it's still one of those things where it'd be nice if someone said, yo, we're doing this.
Yeah, because, well, the other thing is, like, if somehow it ugh.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it is.
I am too, but still, it's something I'm a little bit concerned about it. Where to go next? Let's talk about the Pokemon Go lawsuit.
Okay.
I feel like we talked about this 3 years ago when it happened. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. Feels like we probably talked about it that time. But
most likely.
To catch you all up, there at one point was someone filed a class action lawsuit against Niantic and Pokemon Go on the grounds that the game created public nuisances. Specifically that it brought kind of people into parks or neighborhoods past normal kind of foot traffic times and created excess noise or hazard to property. Like, this was mostly aimed at people that suddenly found out their houses or apartment buildings were Pokestops and were having people kind of camp out on their lawns or some unfortunate
like people's houses, like people's actual houses. And you just see a bunch of randos sitting on your lawn, and that's
like
kind of like
actually on your lawn too, which was part of the problem. Like whether you think of it as trespassing or not, legally they were, and also legally if they got injured, that was potentially your problem, at least in the U.S.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was other stuff like you had. I think it was Australia actually had a bunch of issues with this. You had like giant hordes of people in parks that were surrounded by apartment buildings on all sides that like suddenly had weird noises happening. Like, the park would be like officially closed, but you can't really close a park, as we all know. Like, it's if people get in, they're gonna get in, and you'd have just like mad rushes of people at 1 a.m. in the morning. A lot of money for these places. It's supposed to be fucking quiet right now. The park is closed.
Yep.
What the shit?
Mm-hmm.
So it has. So basically, what's happened is
It's been settled.
Yeah, it's been. But the settlement includes a bunch of new stuff. It actually includes them having to make some concessions. So that includes some stuff like how close a Pokestop or a gym can be to a single-family residence. So, and some other rules as well. I mean, but that, I think it's, I mean, as far as settlement goes, that's the thing. It's sometimes better just go with the settlement and to not drag it out that much further. Because, yeah, I mean, in this case, at least, like, Niantic is like, okay, yeah, well, maybe we should actually implement some actual rules on how this stuff happens, because this affects real life. These are real life, like, people affecting people who, some of these people never play any video games, and a lot of people that don't play Pokemon Go, it's affecting their lives too. So I mean, I think the case was kind of an important one.
Yeah, it was bound to happen. I think the ending's a little anticlimactic. Like, we're obviously no longer in Pokemon Go fever. Like, the people still playing are people that are still playing, but at its peak, you had like Living Dead-esque swarms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, now it's kind of a moot point in some ways, but it's not the first or the last AR game. It's just the most successful one to date, and there's going to be more. And it's going to do things, kind of thing. Like, AR is going to be more impressive than it is currently.
Yes.
In the near future, kind of thing. And I think it's smart to have rules in place that say, yeah, you can't have this in your houses. Just don't do that. It's bad.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's the thing. When we have augmented reality bleeding out into, other people's lives, people that have nothing to do with that video game, you have to think about that. Now you actually have to think about, how you're affecting people who have nothing to do with the game that you've created. And I think to a certain extent, it's obvious that they did to a certain extent, but didn't put down any rules to prevent some of the worst of it from happening.
Yeah.
So, but I think this will probably end up being a bit of a precedent in the court system.
Oh yeah, no, this will definitely be something that's pointed to. Like, and it's maybe it seems like we're coming off on the side of game developers. We're not. I think all of us agree that, like, yeah, this was a situation that just didn't exist previously, that now does, that needed addressing.
Yes. And yeah, and it sounds like it got addressed in it wasn't a heavy-handed sort of games. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, let's censor and ban all AR games. It was not heavy-handed at all.
It wasn't like $1 billion tax against Niantic either.
Yeah. It seems like we're settling this, but have to actually make some improvements. You have to consider the effect on the public. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. And I guess last but not least on our news docket this week, it's not so much a huge story, but something that I know we all on the podcast have talked about on numerous need for a gaming union of some kind and kind of what that impact might be. Well, we're getting our first kind of in live time, I guess, demonstration of maybe how actually important gaming unions might be. So you worked indirectly for Nexon, right, Henry?
No, I haven't. No,
I haven't worked. I thought they owned Rift. Maybe they do now.
They might now, okay. But they didn't at the time.
Yeah. So, South Korean game dev. You're more familiar with this than I am. Nexon is a giant kind of mega corporation that owns, I believe it's like 4 or 5 of the big Korean MMOs at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like MapleStory is probably the biggest one. That was their bread and butter.
Well, they're Guild Wars, I think, too, unless I'm confusing them with someone.
They have been some companies have actually released their games through Nexon. Like, they had something to do with the Final Fantasy Online as well.
Sorry, I'm thinking NCSoft, not Nexon. My bad.
Yeah, Nexon has. Yeah, I mean, like, I think MapleStory was probably the biggest one. But, I mean, like, a few others, such as, like, Dungeon Fighter Online, which I played for Middle Sword, which is, that's more of a typical one. Mabinogi, which was pretty wildly popular.
Yeah.
But really, they're probably most well known for, like, the MapleStory, which I think is still really used.
Yeah.
Still played.
Oh, we talked about that. They had a weird Nazi problem a year or so back. Yeah.
Yeah. And Vindictus, I think, is one of their newest MMORPGs.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah. So they had already unionized. So, which is great. I mean, so what's happened is, in the past several months, there have been, like, layoffs, restructuring. I mean, that's the thing, is projects have been canceled, like some of the things hadn't been as profitable as they thought they were, so a lot of So a lot of things have sort of gone wrong in the company. But the problem here is it's these closures and these suspensions are affecting job security. And so about 600 unionized employees are demonstrating. And essentially what they're saying is the corporate malfeasance in getting like more investors or buyers is affecting everybody's livelihood. So that's the interesting part of this, that this is actually really targeting the leadership of the company. And they're accusing the leadership of not doing what they need to do to secure the livelihood of all the many employees that have been working for them dutifully this entire time. And so 4 projects got shuttered this past year. And so that's quite a few people that are being affected. But that's the thing, it's like, while 100 employees or so are the ones affected, you have 600 that are demonstrating. And so that's the power of, collective bargaining, is that, maybe only this smaller amount of people that maybe a large company could overlook and be like, oh, those 50 or so people, just let them go, go and not worry about that. But then when, like, everybody else joins with them and says, no, you can't treat those workers poorly, we're all standing up here, you away with this. That's why collective bargaining is so vital, and that's why unions are so vital in general, but definitely also in the video game industry. Unions, we need unions here in the U.S. We need a video game developers union, because there's occasions where, of course, not everybody's affected by every move. Maybe it's this branch that was working on this particular game. Maybe they're letting a lot of the artists go. But when everybody stands up at once and says, no, you don't pay them less, no, you have to pay us actual overtime, all of us, that's when you make changes happening. Because otherwise the company's going to be like, oh, you 50 developers here, you want a raise? Ha ha, we're just going to ignore you because we don't care. But when 1,000 people stand up and say, no, we demand a raise, they have to listen, or else their company literally doesn't work. And that's the big difference there. That's why unions have to be a thing if we want any parity against a larger company. Because otherwise, the larger company can't just ignore you. They'll just be like, we don't care. Yeah, go ahead, quit. We'll replace you. But when it's a huge enough number where they're like, this will actually cripple us, this will cripple our ability to make products, that's when you can demand power. That's when you can make powerful demands of the company, for better quality of life and quality of work. So, but it gets a little, if you want to read out why, alright, so like whenever a project ends or fails, essentially they go to the individual employees with a sort of an interview. And if the interview, so they basically have to re-interview for their job that they already had a contract for. And so if the reason the game crashed wasn't their fault, but they lose their job anyways because the game or the project went south, that's like really unfair. That's affecting their job security. It's like, it wasn't our fault that this thing crashed, but we're going to be the ones taking the brunt of the blame, and we're the ones losing our jobs for it. So that's some more of these thing. That's why they are striking essentially. But this is the thing that needs to happen more often, and we need game developers unions in the U.S. We just do. And so far, only one presidential candidate, has mentioned it at all, and that's Bernie Sanders. He's actually gone and spoken about it on social media, about the need for video game developer unions specifically. So,
We actually have one breaking news thing at the end, Nintendo related, so we're going to rewind back to our Nintendo talk for a second.
All right.
Apparently, a patent has been filed for new Joy-Cons that have weird hinges on them for making them more ergonomic. It doesn't fix my issue with the Joy-Cons, but maybe it makes it better for some.
I just want buttons that weren't made for, like, mice.
I just don't want the right-hand joystick where it is. Like, I go back to, if you were to sell me a Wii U that worked as a Switch, like that button layout, I'd be real happy.
Or, just, maybe like an actual controller layout that's...
Well,
that's
the Switch
good.
has an actual controller. I just don't like it either.
Yeah, there is a classic controller. But yeah, if it's...
Pro controller, not classic. Pro.
I mean, sorry, Pro controller.
You gotta be MLG to own that thing or have the money to cough up for it, but mostly the first one.
Yep. I do have to say that the Switch Lite that's coming out, they're actually replacing the sort of buttons on the left with an actual D-pad.
Yeah, but the same shit tier button layout.
Yeah, still got the same, but at least it's an actual D-pad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a plus to me personally. I mean, that makes me want to buy that. That's one of the things that's like attractive to me.
That 1 pixel width joystick D-pad that comes now isn't fucking great.
There's such... I mean, I get it. It's like for kids, so that a kid can actually use this controller more easily, and use the buttons, but... yeah, I don't know. It makes me... But it does, on the upside, it makes me feel like a big, giant man whenever I'm holding just a single Joy-Con.
I want to do that, though. Like,
Which I've done, like, when I played on the Switch a couple of weeks ago on a friend's Switch. I mentioned that, actually. And so we played a game where it was, a 2-player game, or a multiplayer game, at least. And so we're each holding this teeny tiny controller, so I just feel like Andre the Giant or the Mountain, the Mountain from Game of Thrones playing like 360. How he must feel when he's playing with a PlayStation controller, and it feels like a tiny baby toy to him. So, so there's that. Still tall and large.
Yeah. Fuck the Joy-Con controllers. Said normal-handed people everywhere.
Normal-handed people.
Large-handed people are like, I need a new console, bro.
Yeah, I remember back when there's the controller that
Duke.
was just too big.
The Duke.
Yeah, which I remember that. So
you could kill a
we've
man
gone
with
in
the
the
Duke
reverse.
just by dropping it on him. It'd also take like 8 days to fall over because it was so tall, but...
Direction.
Oh, we've been there for a while. Like, cell phones were the first indicator that we were going too small. Like, we eliminated the headphone jack to make the phone thinner. I'm like, no one wants this. No one needs a phone this thin. Like, we are approaching phones that are thin enough they can fall through a subway grate.
Well, but they've made them thin, but they've made them wider and longer. So they're increasingly more awkward to carry.
Yep.
That's what I don't like.
Nope.
They haven't gotten small. All of these size, they've just flattened it out, and it's made it worse to carry. Like, you can't put it in your pocket. Remember when phones could actually fit in your free...
To imagine they make phones by just kind of like running the previous year's version over with a steamroller, and that actually makes the new phone size. We found a heavier steamroller. This is how thin they'll be this year.
But at least, we've from the 360 controller to the Xbox One controller, though they didn't just shrink the crap out of them, they actually just made them slightly better. So I like that trend. But Nintendo cares not for your trends. We are a trend.
Yeah. That does it for news this week. I just went in because I wanted to make my Joy-Cons quickly. Especially after our Ring talk this week. Nintendo Hula Hoop. I'm kind of sad there's no like cardboard Labo version of the exercise gear, but some barbells to go with it.
Yeah, some cardboard barbells. Yes,
Resistance training with rubber band. That does it for news this week. Obviously, we have no emails this week. But if you wanted to address, would you send it to?
Oh, very simple. You would go ahead and just type in wickedawesomecast@gmail.com.
What's that email again, Henry?
That is wickedawesomecast@gmail.com.
Spelled as it sounds, down in the show notes, except to Ra. That does it for this week. Anything you guys want to talk about before we get the hell out of here?
No, nothing other than should hopefully be streaming.
Stop DDoSing the WoW servers.
Stop DDoSing so I can stream some content. Assholes. That's it.
Yeah, I'm still kind of trying to figure out a good streaming setup because I haven't decided whether I want to try to play, mainly PC games, but right now, so it's a little more taxing to do so. But yeah. Or if I'll just use my little capture thing. I have a little Dazzle capped really well for all of my other old consoles, so I made this week. We'll see. That is on my Twitch channel at HAR. So, but yeah, if I'm doing that, you'll see it on my social media, which is Kraken0. That is ZER0 on Facebook and Instagram. So,
yeah.
Please send us emails. They definitely brighten our day, and we and as well as the people that send us emails. So
yeah. We may do that special Destiny podcast thing I'm threatened in the near future. I'm trying to maybe pull that together with my clan. I assume you'll be sitting that one out, Henry, since you have played 0 to very little Destiny.
Yeah.
For those confused, this would not be in place of our normal podcast, which is one of our side story episode things, or our off topic, if you will.
Yep.
I think Alex had some interest in being part of that, but I don't know. Yeah. Hang out with some hardcore Destiny nerds that was fighting about lore. Hear me yell about things like Dredge and Yor. But yeah, I think that does it for this week. Yes, no, maybe?
Yeah.
Who wants to take us out this week?
Cute.